I knew it the minute that, Mahomes won the toss and marched down the field and scored that touchdown, that everyone would be out here saying, hey, you got to change the overtime rules in the NFL. Interestingly enough, a team 2 years ago said both teams should be mandated to touch the ball regardless of a touchdown being scored by the team that wins first. Was the Kansas City Chiefs put that in front of the ownership, and it didn't even make it to a vote. DOA, dead on arrival. Now, again, the overtime rules used to be any score would win it, and then they changed that a few years ago after, I think, the Saints won a playoff game where it was just
I think it was 2012.
Was that what it was?
Yeah,
okay, was that, I don't know which game led to it, but they decided, let's just make sure that if somebody kicks a field goal to start overtime, the next team has a chance to match it, to continue it, score a touchdown to win it, and if they don't do either, game's over there. So at least somebody's going to touch it again, right? At least both teams are going to touch the football in overtime. But if the first team scores a touchdown, that's the end of it. Part of it, I guess, player safety, that if these players keep going on and on and on, banging into each other and then wind up playing, a whole full quarter, like if it's kind of like professional football around the world where you have to play an entire 45-minute period.
Yeah, the World Cup.
Right.
Internet.
And then if it's another tie or what have you, then it's another period of time, and then there's, penalty kicks, which kind of stinks that everything comes down to that. But I guess you can't keep running around the field forever and more. And I totally understand that I feel robbed, and if I'm a Bills fan, I feel robbed that Josh Allen doesn't get it. But we're assuming, again, that whoever won would march right down the field, right? That the Chiefs wouldn't be able to stop Allen because they hadn't done it in about a half an hour of real time.
Mm-hmm.
And both defenses are gassed, so the other defense that's gassed should have an opportunity to be gashed, similar to whoever loses the coin toss. And I say you should play better defense. That's my initial reaction. Play better defense.
Come on.
Now,
come on, what?
I do want to hit the flip side here, which is what you're saying. Come on, right? You think that Allen should have a chance to have at least had an opportunity to match the touchdown, correct?
Well, I mean, obviously you can say, play better D, but
we're just assuming that both teams' defenses were ready to be steamrolled.
That's how I looked at it.
Okay, well, not every overtime is going to be that way, number one, right? What if the overtime went in Rams and Bucks? Both of those didn't seem to be, gashed defenses. As a matter of fact, the Rams might have had the advantage because their defense, without having a short field on them, with the exception of Jalen Ramsey giving that one up top, they had the advantage. They were beating Brady up like crazy. And the number of times that the Rams had their way against the Bucs defense, if they didn't keep shooting themselves in the foot with fumbles and the short field goal, I can't believe that. I don't know if the winner of the coin toss would have won that game on the spot.
I mean, just look at 49ers Packers. They might still be playing.
Right. You know what I'm saying? It's just this particular game, both defenses were gassed by the end, and we're complaining about a coin toss that whoever won, like the coin flip decided it. No, the fact that the defense couldn't stop Kansas City or couldn't prevent overtime in 13 seconds beforehand. I mean, there's so many things that go into it. But here's the one thing that I don't think anybody who is taking the opposite point of view of what I'm saying right now are thinking about. If both teams were allowed to touch the football, regardless of whether the first team scored a touchdown or not, it changes the entire strategy of overtime. I would want to lose the coin toss, actually, or because the other team would probably have the same point of view, I'd want to win and defer in overtime. I'd want to know what I have to do to win the game. Do I have to score a touchdown to match it? That means I get to play like a video game style, like the way the Bills came out last night. Doesn't matter what fourth down it is or down in distance or where it is, we're going for it. Because I know I'd have to score a touchdown. I'd know I'd have to go. So I'm going for it on fourth down from my own 18-yard line. You get the ball first, you're not going for it on fourth down on your own 18-yard line. You're punting. If Mahomes got the ball last night first and Allen was allowed to come back and possess it, would he have been so aggressive to score a touchdown first? Or when they start getting into the red zone, they'd have to sit there and think, we can't just win it now. Or we are going to be aggressive because we're afraid that this other guy's going to score a touchdown, so we got to be aggressive. They're going to put the ball up as much? Or are they going to settle for 3? I would say most teams would wind up settling for 3. And then the other team, knowing that they can maybe score a touchdown to win it, they enter the red zone and they're starting to think, wait a minute, we got to be careful. We're at least going to need to get 3 here, right? We're not going to go for the touchdown here, run the risk of not even getting 3 to keep the game going. So all the aggressivity that we're kind of digging that we saw from Kansas City last night, and that we'd want to see Allen to come out and actually have an aggressive posture like that. At least he should have that opportunity. Neither team are going to be as aggressive as we want them to be, and we're kind of enjoying watching. Could you imagine the head coach that gets the ball second under these overtime rules and tries to win it with the 7 points right there because they know my defense is gassed, as opposed to going for the field goal? It's 4th and 2 from the 21. You're going to go for it, or you're going to kick that less than 40-yard field goal to keep overtime going? Of course you're going to choose the latter. Could you imagine the coach that doesn't and goes for it and then gets stopped with somebody like, say, Derrick Henry, who got stopped not only on a 4th and 1, but also on a 2-point conversion from the 1? Like, it's no guarantee.
Brandon Staley would go for it.
Maybe. We've seen that sort of stuff, and we've also seen the reaction to it.
Yeah.
But that's
Harbaugh
just
would go for it.
Yeah, Harbaugh would go
I
for
don't
it.
know, guys.
Tomlin
I
might
don't
go
think.
for it.
All I'm saying is you got to play it out. That if both teams were allowed to possess the ball, I think you'd see a lot of, pussyfooting around, to be honest with you, before they actually got to the part of overtime where it's sudden death.
Right.
Because that's the way it would be, right? Like, you'd have to have both teams. Like, Allen would have had an opportunity to match the touchdown. And then once that happened, then it's sudden death. Or we're just going to let them keep matching up, kind of like college football, until one team doesn't beat the other.
Yeah, do you just play
And
a
then
full...
is it timed, or we're just no time, right? There's no time involved.
Well, you can play a 10-minute quarter, maybe.
But what does a quarter even mean anymore? It's basically like penalty kicks. One team gets to kick a penalty kick, another one gets to kick one, and then finally, once you don't match it
you
up,
just play until nobody scores. Then,
or some team gets with the 2 possessions that you're allowed. You get 3, I got 3. We continue. You got 7. I know I got to get 7. Going second in that situation is absolutely an advantage. I would defer. I'd want to lose the coin toss on the spot or win it and defer.
yeah, the stats from college football too. A lot of people saying like, "Oh, college overtime."
Well, that stinks.
I know, I understand, but the stat is like 62% of the winners of college overtime take the ball second, and so to your point, it is an advantage to go second in this style of overtime.
But we all saw how aggressive Mahomes was, and we loved it. Why not?
But because he's like that because he knows
Correct.
a touchdown ends the game.
Right. If Allen had an opportunity after him, first of all, winning the toss, I'd go second. Allen would have gone first. And if he scored the touchdown, now you get to see how aggressive Mahomes is. But how aggressive would Allen have been? What if they forced a 4th down? You damn straight you're seeing Bass out there kicking a field goal.
Right. 100%.
So the question is what are your rules after both teams touch it? Because you got to think about how it would actually play out, and it's not going to be the way that you all want to see. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.